And now to our next conversation. The fall of cryptocurrency exchange FTX has drawn numerous comparisons to the collapse of Lehman Brothers, which sparked the 2008 financial crisis. Well, FTX expanded its business into West Africa, gathering users in Nigeria, Ghana, and East Africa, talking about Kenya. But what can we expect for regulation, and how can users get their funds and the stock on that exchange back? Let's talk to Prince Wafru, now partner at the Law Suite. Join us via Zoom. Great to have you on the program.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. So, a majority of users of the exchange have their funds still stocked there, and I'm wondering if users have some kind of legal backing, to actually get their funds back.
Well, thanks for the question. Well, first of all, let me say that as a strong believer in the blockchain technology, my heart goes out to those who have lost their funds or who are about to lose part of their funds. Now to your question, the way it works in practice is once the company files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, the state automatically takes over the company. And what it then means that the creditors, who include, of course, the users of the platform, we have to wait for that process to take its course. And I can assure you, it's not an easy process. It's quite complicated. But there's hope that, could lead to the users recovering part of their funds. One thing is clear, though, bankruptcy proceeding, like I noted, is quite complex. And you recall, Ladi, that this is an area that is still evolving. Even with lawyers, we are still trying to figure out how some of these things will play out. Not like in traditional asset class, where the law appears to be more specific on what to be done. So, but from the information available to the public, the filing that has been published by major newspapers, including, of course, channels, FTX indicated that it has over 100,000 creditors, assets in the range of 10 billion USD, 50 billion worth of assets. Then, of course, liabilities. What I noticed is that by their filing, they have indicated that both their assets range and their liabilities range are almost at par. But it's more than just that filing. We need to understand what those assets are and what will be the value of those assets at the point of disposal. Currently, the crypto market is undergoing what we call crypto winter. There's a lot of downturn, occasioned partly, of course, by the global recession. So, but we can only hope for the best. Thank you.
All right. What do you think U.S. and international regulators have in their playbook to actually protect users of that exchange right now?
Well, back to the point I made earlier, the U.S. has a system that works, and we know that crypto has that global outlook. FTX itself is based in Bahamas, of course, with the U.S. subsidiary. And I imagine that there'll be a lot of collaboration among the various jurisdictions. We hear that the U.S. has started an investigation, Department of Justice and the Securities and Exchange Commission. The whole idea behind this investigation is to ensure that these assets are not frittered away. They should be able to recover as many of those assets so that these users can, at least the hope of recovering their assets will be something more realizable. So, there's current investigation going on, and we are just watching the space.
Isn't it a little fishy that after the whole collapse of the exchange, then news comes out all of a sudden that the exchange has been hacked and most of the funds taken out? Isn't there some kind of imbalance there?
Yes, and I'm quite surprised at myself. Again, it goes to show why we need regulation in this sector, because a lot of unethical practices going on. If you recall, this Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder of FTX, has his hands in several previous crypto firms that have collapsed. You hear of Voyager, you hear of Celsius. These are crypto exchanges that have also collapsed in the past and somehow tied to this same founder. So I think investigation will reveal most of the underlying issues behind some of this development.
And looking at what's happened right now, we still have other exchanges out there still, claiming to be solvent, at this time. How can users actually, know which exchange can actually stand the test of time and not run away with their funds?
Again, it's a difficult question, but the way this thing works, which again I take the blame because we the stakeholders, we celebrate these big names, we celebrate the big players in the industry. Nobody takes time to really look at the underlying infrastructure that undergirds some of these projects. And at SIBAN, stakeholders in Blockchain Association of Nigeria, where I belong to, we come up with what we call code of conduct for virtual asset service providers, which will guide the stakeholders in this sector, that's the people who are running this project, to guide them so that they have what we call resilient and sustainable projects. At the moment, there are a lot of exchanges. Of course, I'm not going to mention any. But what you realize that most of these exchanges that have fallen off in recent times are centralized exchanges. If you go back to the philosophical basis behind cryptocurrency, as espoused by Satoshi Nakamoto himself, or himself, I don't know whether it's a man or a woman.
Right.
The idea is this has to be decentralized. But we've started seeing a lot of projects being centralized around few individuals. So perhaps for you to determine whether a particular project is sustainable, you have to look at a lot of factors. Who are those behind the project? What is their antecedent? I mean, look at the white paper. A lot of factors need to be taken into consideration here. But again, I'm not going to offer any recommendation in that.
All right, but looking at, we have the centralized exchanges, we have the decentralized exchanges. Do you think this is a time to shine, talking about the decentralized exchanges?
Oh, yes. Again, each one has its own advantage or benefit. Of course, sometimes there's a trade-off between security and efficiency. Those who project these centralized exchanges talk about always in terms of scalability. I mean, it's easier. Of course, when few persons are taking decisions, things move pretty fast. Unlike when you have a community coming together to decide on an issue. So, but in terms of decentralized exchanges, they are more secure in terms because there are a lot of people scrutinizing what but again, it's a balancing act. But at the end of the day, even if you have to build a centralized exchange, there are a lot of principles that should guide your project.
Okay.
I mean, like even the traditional companies, you see things around corporate governance, prudent risk management, and a whole lot of issues around consumer and investor protection. Once you have those things embedded in your project, I mean, it doesn't really matter whether you're building centralized or decentralized.
All right. Well, we'll keep tracking to see how it all plays out. Thank you so much. That was Prince Nwafuru, partner, the Law Suite. It was great having your perspective.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.